Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. Well, I wondered if the government had watched my salve of Minister of Primes on Monday and heard the news of my over 50s medal in Krakow and decided to change the top job, but that call hasn't come, so I guess I won't be in the hat for that. Instead, I will be doing a puzzle by Jovial today, which is always a treat on the channel and instantly reminds me that on Patreon at the moment, we have a brilliant puzzle by Jovial and Shy called, what's it called? Language. I should have prepared that. Shared language? Not quite sure. It's called something around language, and it's brilliant. It is so interesting, and we are getting some solution paths through. That's the competition, to explain a good solution path to the puzzle. And that's open until the 31st. So we've closed the Duality Skunkworks puzzle pack competition, and that's what's going on Patreon at the moment. I mean, there's always other stuff too, so it's definitely 3 or 4 posts every month, extra content. We do like to bring you stuff on Patreon when we can. And we will very shortly, in the next day or two, be bringing you videos of the solutions to the Duality Skunkworks pack. Now, what else have we got going on? We've got the apps, of course. You can check them all out in the link that takes you to the apps under the video. And you can find the merchandise there. It's not clicking through from YouTube at the moment for some reason to the individual items, which is highly irritating. What else have we got? There's the Discord server, of course, and the catalogue. They're all linked under the video. But, and we'll be streaming at some point this week. I don't know exactly when, but do check that out. We will keep you informed. And the book. Of course, we are running the Kickstarter for CTC, the second book, and we'd love you to get involved. If you haven't decided to do that yet, do think about it, because we'd really love to hit lots of stretch goals and put extra content as a result in the book, and we think it's going to be brilliant. There's going to be, well, I mean, it's fact that there are going to be some amazing puzzles in it. We've already chosen some, and they're amazing, so that's a great start. Anyway, let's have a look at this puzzle, which came in from Jovial, who doesn't often recommend her own puzzles, but this one, I like X sums, and that's what it is. So the rules are very straightforward in this case, I think. 1 to 9 in every row, column, and box. That's normal Sudoku rules. And then a clue outside the grid gives the sum of the first X digits of that row or column, where X is the first digit. So this 15 at the top here in column 3, its first digit that it sees is there. So if that was a 3, these 3 digits, because of the 3, add up to 15. Simple. Simple to understand, not always simple to solve. Don't know how difficult this is going to be, but I do like X sums, so I'm keen to give it a go, and you can try it on the link under the video. I am going to start now. Let's get cracking. Ooh, the restart button's got very big. Right. Now, something that I often do is to put in the candidates for these X sums. Okay, that's more interesting. Look at this. There we go. There's an interesting start to the puzzle. Now, I do sometimes, and probably rightly, get accused of going a bit too fast and not explaining things. What I'm doing here, well, basically it's showing off, but I think this is very interesting, and I want to explain what I've just seen in this puzzle. So I will take it a bit more slowly. So there are 2 rows and indeed 1 column in this puzzle where there are X sum clues at both ends. Now those are quite interesting because, partly because of the secret, which I sometimes share with my closest friends, and I am prepared to tell you, because you are my closest friends, that the sum of every row, column, and box in a Sudoku is always 45, every time, because, well, that's what the gods visit on people who share their secrets, is huge coughing fits. But yes, every row, column, and box adds up to 45 in a Sudoku, because by rule they have to contain the digits 1 to 9, and they always add up to 45. Now, in these rows where obviously we have a 45 total, but we know some other totals. We know the total of the two X sum clues. And in this row particularly, that total is 28. Now, that means that I'm going to call it an underlap, which we sometimes do, which is the portion between the two X sum clues. Now, they might be disposed like this. 3 cells on the right, 4 cells on the left. I'll get back in a second to how I know it's not 2 or 5, etc. But I do know that. And the underlap, the cells in the middle, must add up to 45 minus 14 minus 14, which is 17. I did that in my head. Now, I think the maximum length of the underlap is 2 cells. And if 17 is going to be done in a maximum of 2 cells, it's going to be 9 and 8. So I don't know whether the underlap is there or there, but it's consisting of 9 and 8, which is why I've been able to put a 9-8 pair of candidates in this cell. Now, how do I know that these aren't 2 or 5? Well, a moment's thought will tell you that. 5 would be too much, because if you add any 5 cells together, they have to add up to at least 15, being 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. If you add 2 cells together, you can get to 14, but not if you've started with X is 2. You would need a 12 in the next cell. So they must be a 3-4 pair. They must have a 2-cell underlap in one of those positions. And that 2-cell underlap must consist of 8 and 9, and that is one of those cells. So that is how I was able to put those candidates in very quickly. Now let's see if it works. I don't think it will on this one. We can calculate again the underlap, which if we add 23 and 15, we know that there's 38 in the X sum clues. The underlap is therefore 7. This total of digits in between the X sum clues, and that could be 1 or 2 cells. Could actually in theory be 3, but it won't be, because the minimum value for this clue is 4. It can't be a 3, because although you can make 23 in 3 cells, you can't do it with a 3. So this is going to be 4 or 5. I'm not going to go higher than that, because at this other end, the 15 clue, much like the 14, well, it could theoretically be 5 in the first instance, but it can't be now because of this underlap issue. If that was a 5, this would be a 4. That would cover all the cells in the row, but they don't add up to the right total of clues. So this is 3 or 4. This is 4 or 5. And I don't... Can I go beyond that? No, I don't think I can. If this was a 4... Oh, I can. This can't be a 4, because that would stop this being a 4 and make it a 5, and that would use all the 9 cells in the row. So that is actually a 3. And that's going to fix 4 and 3 up here. Tell us exactly where our underlap is up there. I'm obviously using the word underlap as a sort of imaginary figurative complement to the word overlap, which is what you can sometimes get in these puzzles. Now, the underlap down here is either that cell or those 2, but I don't know which. It could be a single 7 in that cell, or a 1-6 pair in those 2, or a 2-5 pair actually. Let's have a look at this column, which I haven't really considered yet, and which has again an underlap of 9. That's going to be even more significant, because that number's bigger than the underlap of 7 here. So I think we were starting with 3 or 4 again. It can't be 2, because you can't get to 15 in 2 cells. It can't be 5, now it's running through 8 or 9. So that's fine. Down here, this can't be 3, because you would need those 2 to add up to 18. So this is 4 or 5. I think we have the same problem exactly. This can't be 4 now, because that would be 5, and that would use all the cells in the column, which would add up to the wrong total. So that one is a 3. And now these, that's lovely. These 3 add up to 15. And that can't be a 9, because that would have to be another 3 to make the sum work. So we get a 4 here. We've made that total 15. That makes this a 5. That means the underlap is 1 cell. We've got an X sum there that adds up to 21, an X sum there that adds up to 15, That's 36. We take that away from our magic number of 45 and we put in 9. And that's brilliant. I mean, I've basically fully used, let's mark them off. I've fully used that clue and that clue. That's a start. In here, these add up to 15. So those are a 12. Oh yeah, these are a 12. No, they're not. They're an 11 pair. Well, it's got to be 5, 6. Yes, it has. And these are 1, 2, 7. And that's not a 2. So I basically fully used those clues now as well. This one is going to need a 12 pair. That one, don't know enough about it. Well, this couldn't be a 5, 2 underlap anymore, but it could be 1, 6. Okay, but I haven't used lots of other clues. Now, if I had gone back to what I was thinking of doing at the start, oh yes, I would have put 3, 4 or 5 as possibilities in these cells, because that's all that 15 can be. That's all that 15 can have as its x. And if this cell is 3, 4 or 5, and it can't be 3 or 4 anymore, that is a 5, and this one now must be a 4. And these 4 cells add up to 15. And these 5 are 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I know the 4 goes there. That's not a 7. That's 1 or 3. That's 1, 2 or 3. And that clue's done. These add up to 15, which could be 4 and 6 with a 3, 2 pair, or 4 and 5. 4 and 5 would need another 6 in 2 cells, but 6 in 2 cells that see each other are either 1, 5 or 2, 4. So actually that can't be a 5, weirdly. It's very weird because that's the lower number which seems to give more degrees of freedom to those cells. But in fact, it doesn't allow either of the 2 possibilities. So that's a 6, that's a 2, that's a 3. We've done that. We've not just worked out what digits are on this 15 clue, we've actually filled them all in. So we're away here. This is great. I do like puzzles that flow like this. It's an absolute pleasure, frankly. 6, 7, 8, 9 in that column. I'm going to also fill in 1, 2, 6, 7. Not afraid to do a lot of pencil marking. Now, these 21s, yes, of course. These can't begin with 3. It's too low because we worked that out here. 3 plus 2 cells, they would have to add up to 18 and both be 9. So these are from 4, 5 and 6 as a population. Now I don't know which one is 6, but whichever one is, I do now, whichever one is 6 has a 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 set of digits there to make 21, because there's 6 digits adding to 21. They have to be those 6. And that means it has 7, 8, 9 at the top. Now that is possible here. It's not possible over this side. If that was 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, they would have to be 7, 8, 9, but they've got a 5 in. So it's over here that we get 7, 8, 9 at the top. And down here that we get a 6, and that's a 4. We've basically finished with this clue because Sudoku logic will force us to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. Now we've put a 7, 8, 9 set. Here we haven't used the clue. 21 digits add up to 4, but we're going to use this 4 in the box to make that a 5. This is so neat. I mean, this is so few clues to put in an X-sum puzzle, and yet they work perfectly together. Now this pair had to add up to 12, and they now can't have a 3 or a 5 in. So that's 8, 4. The underlap is still 7, and I don't know how that works yet. That's interesting. 5, 8, 4, 3. I think probably it may be time to do some Sudoku. 7, 4. I mean, it's a classic sort of thing we say, and it's ironic always that in a Sudoku puzzle you can be focusing on the other clues to the exclusion of doing actual Sudoku eliminations by what digits can be seen by others. But there we go. It happens a lot, and it is an amusing idea that we finally are forced to do Sudoku in a Sudoku puzzle. We get a 2 there. 5, 6, 7, triple. No 2 there. That's not a 1. Now, we've still not worked out these. I might just mark them in different colours so I'm reminded to work out totals for those at some point. I'm probably going to carry on doing Sudoku. Look, there's the last, not quite the last 4 in the grid. That's now the last 4 in the grid. Ah, there's a 3 here. Right, so this 21 sum, 7 there. These two add up to 14. They can't be 5, 9 because of that. So they are 8, 6. And now this can't be a 6, 1 pair or a 5, 2 pair or a 4, 3 pair. So it's not a pair. Oh, in fact, sorry, that's been obviously not a pair since I put a 5 in there. I just didn't think of it. Anyway, there we go. So let's get rid of all that colouring. And we can basically colour these off now. I've done all the clues outside the grid, and the rest is Sudoku. So we have, in fact, that must be 2 in this row. And we can put in 1 and 9. That's not a 2 or a 7. That's a 6. I think we're going to reduce everything to pairs and triples now and fill it in. Now, that's a really neat puzzle to have so few clues to solve so elegantly. That is very much my sort of puzzle. Jovial is very good at those, often considerably harder, but she certainly has skills. 8 in this column has to go at the bottom. 1, 5 there. Those can't have an 8. In fact, I do know the order of them. That's a 9 and a 2. And now we're just finishing off. I love this. It's very good. 7, 8 pair. 1, 9 pair. That's an 8, 3 pair, which can be written in. This is a 5, 6 pair. That sorts out all the pairs in rows 5 and 6. And we can do this 9, 7, 8. It is that order, in fact, triple there. Now, let's start. Oh, that can't be a 5. Oh, much more importantly, 7 is there. So we can put in a 7 there. Then look across with the 7, look across with the 8, look across with the 9, look across with the 1, and look across with the 6, and we're finished. That is fantastic. That's not too hard. That really is quite approachable. Certainly not as easy as a gas, but quite approachable. I like that it's called kineticism, because I think that correctly implies that it's all moving parts that move along in a nice sequence, frankly. So from the Greek kinetic, well, from the Greek kine and something else. Anyway, that is marvellous puzzle. Thank you very much to Jovial and people who've recommended that she send it to us. And thank you for watching, as always. Hope to see you again soon on the channel. Bye for now.